Sometimes problems arise on a car and the issue that's causing it is completely off the radar and doesn't even match the symptoms. Let's get started. This is a 2008 Toyota Camry 4-cylinder. It's been some complaints about it kind of misfiring or stumbling and running kind of rough. It has a check engine light. And what could be wrong is a myriad of all kinds of problems it could be. But before we go any further, I have two things I want to talk about with you guys. And it has to do with scams. So thinking of scams, we live in a time now where there's lots of scams. And Crazy D in the office just let me know today there's a company out there trying to use our name to make money. And they're not even affiliated with us, and they claim that they are. They claim that we own that company or we work together or something. We don't. This is all that I own right here is Omega Auto Clinic. I have nothing to do with any other companies out there in the rest of the country. So be careful what you're listening to or what you're hearing. You can really get in a lot of trouble. Somebody can lead you down a path that you wish you never went down. Also, keep in mind whenever you see any kind of comments or anything on social media, just like on TikTok and Instagram, our account is Real Car Wizard, but there's a lot of them out there that just say Car Wizard. And they're even using my icon, my face. It even shows the exact icon that we use. And they're getting into dealings with you guys and saying, yeah, send me some money, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you're paying attention. It needs to say Real Car Wizard. And if they ask you they're proposing to be the Car Wizard and they start talking about a WhatsApp number, we don't even have WhatsApp and we never even used it and probably never will. So then you know it's a scam. So make sure you're watching out there. And the third thing, I got one more thing. A previous several videos back I mentioned that we wouldn't be working on domestic cars anymore, but we'd be working on Asian, European, and exotic. It clearly says that in the video. But you guys really need to pay attention and make sure you're listening to everything that's being said, because we are fighting off comments right now that's saying, oh, you're only an exotic. You only work on exotics. In the previous video, we showed a Toyota. And someone commented, I thought you said you only work on exotics. I never said that. I never have. So make sure you're listening. Exotics, European, and Asians. Asians. So, without further ado, this one has some issues. It has a check engine light. The engine is occasionally running rough, and other times it'll run fine. Let's go ahead and get our scan tool and start looking at codes. Let's go ahead and turn on the ignition. Wait for it to stop beeping and quit annoying us. Okay, now we got everything loaded into the scan tool. Let's go check for trouble codes and see what could possibly be wrong with this vehicle. System 2 lean, bank 1. Random misfire, cylinder 1 misfire, cylinder 2 misfire. Oh, and look what we found here. Evap system leakage. Valve stuck in on position, system lean. Low flow, high flow, stuck in off position, stuck in on position. And more misfires. And a lot of the evap codes over again was history. So let's play the little game. We saw the codes. It's talking about lean condition, lean running condition, misfires, and also evap valve codes. So I'll play the game. I'll list 3 things and see if you guys can, in the comments, let me know what you think it is. Is it number 1, a bad ECM? Number 2, a failed charcoal canister assembly? Or is it number 3, bad fuel? So I did some diagnosis and also some research and found out the actual charcoal canister has failed and causing a vacuum leak. So I get emails sometimes, people say, hey, Car Wizard, my car's misfiring, it's running rough, what could it be? Did you ever think that the evap system could be involved in it? This is why it's really hard to diagnose a car over a phone or over email. It's almost impossible. Because until you actually get in the car in the shop and actually be able to look at things, then you start seeing it has nothing to do with what you thought it was. How many of you thought it could be a coil? Could be a spark plug? You could go down a road for a long time and be completely not even on the right track. And as far as the radar is concerned of what's wrong with this car, you won't even be on the radar, wasting a lot of time. Let's go ahead and get this thing up on the lift behind me. We'll get it up in the air and I'll show you where it's at, and then we'll talk about what it does and how it could cause this issue. Evap canisters can be located, who knows, on a car. It's wherever the car maker decides to put it. Sometimes they're up in the front right wheel well. Sometimes they're in the rear right wheel well. Sometimes they're underneath the trunk. Sometimes they're up there by the engine. They could be anywhere. This one's in actually a very difficult place that's not going to be cheap to get to. Let me show you where the charcoal canister is on this vehicle. So this one's actually located where you would normally see a rear axle. It looks like a cross member. It's called the rear subframe or whatever. It's this entire assembly right here. Look above it. You can see up there, there is our charcoal assembly. You can see to the right there's little valves and all kinds of electronics and things that go on over there. And it doesn't come out very easily. So you can do this on a 4-post lift, or probably recommend to do a 2-post lift. This is going to be one of those that's not going to be fun to do on the ground, because these bolts right here, there's one there, there's one here, one over here, and one right there. You'll have to take those bolts loose and drop it down so you can at least get to the charcoal canister and actually pull it out. But that's just half the battle. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground and talk about what causes this. And we'll take a look in the engine bay of some other parts that are actually tied to this box, which is all the way back here. So here's our 4-cylinder engine, and this one's had motor mounts and coils and plugs and all kinds of things done to it not too long ago. This issue has to do with the evap system. We can see a little purge valve here that goes into the intake manifold of the engine, but the hose on the other side right here goes all the way back to that little box I just showed you underneath the car. So one of the ways that this system works is gas vapors in your gas tank. Instead of letting them go off into the air and hurt the ozone or hurt the environment, it traps it into the charcoal canister. And the next time you start your car, the car creates vacuum and it pulls through the hoses and pulls those vapors out of the canister. And as soon as it's cleared, it should shut that off so you don't have a large vacuum leak all the time. That's basically all that system does. And when it fails, it can cause these kind of issues.
Okay, Wizard, that's all great and all, but how does that make the car run rough?
Yeah, so that's kind of a good question. What does that thing in the back have to do with my engine running rough? Why is it misfiring, acting up, just because of some box that's in the back? What's happening is there's the little valves on that charcoal canister that open and close at different times to take care of fuel vapors and whatnot. And like I just showed you, that's connected directly to the intake manifold through a hose that's in the engine bay. When those little valves on the charcoal canister, which here's a picture of one, this is what it looks like. When they start to fail, they get stuck open. So the computer's saying, okay, I've got all that cleared out, go ahead and close the valve off, and it says, I can't, it's stuck. And all the time you're driving around, it starts sucking in fresh air. And it's like basically unplugging a vacuum line on your engine. It has a vacuum leak. It starts running rough and misfiring. And at other times, the valve sticks closed. It refuses to even work. As we saw in the codes, it says sometimes it's stuck open. Sometimes it's stuck closed. It's asking, hey, let's clear those vapors out of the canister. Go ahead and open that valve up. And the valve says, I can't. It's stuck. It won't open. A lot of things are going on just with that canister. And it's not cheap. Depending on where you buy it, it's anywhere from $300 to $500. I even found a place selling them for $900. I won't be buying that one when I can get an OEM one for way less. That's another scam you might watch out for. Just because you go online, you find the part, oh, there it is, $900. Well, I guess I got to pay it. No, do some shopping. Check around. You might find another place that has identical part number for $450 or $500. It really is a big deal to find out where's the best deal, where can you get them from. There's all sorts of online parts suppliers out there. Definitely check those out and you can get really a pretty good deal and get it delivered to your house, get it installed. All I need to do is order a canister, and replace this one. But as you saw, it's not going to be a 5-minute job. It's going to be quite a bit to get that subframe down, get the old one out, put the new one in, and make sure everything's working properly. And it should take care of that problem completely. But just keep in mind, it's very easy to get misled when reading codes. Oh, a lean code, it's misfiring. I need coils and plugs. No, you don't. This is actually my daughter's boyfriend's car. We've actually done a lot of work to this one with coils, plugs, motor mounts, as you saw. Everything is in tip-top shape, and now the charcoal canister has decided to die on them. They're on vacation, they're doing their thing. While it's here, we're going to go ahead and take care of it. I got to get it done by Thursday, so I should be able to have it done by then. When they first bought this car, there was some talk from the previous owner about possibly a code here or there from the charcoal canister. And at the time, the boyfriend was like, I really don't have that kind of money right now. It's running fine. I don't want to mess with it. Well, now we've got to a point where it's now failed enough. It's affecting drivability. It's making it run really rough and really bad. We have no choice. It must be fixed now, or it's going to make it run really, really bad. It was okay to wait. They bought them some time. Now we've arrived to a point where we have to fix it, and now they have the money to get it taken care of. We'll get that replaced. This thing will be back on the road and cruising fine again. But isn't that crazy that you can have an engine misfiring, and you go down this long list of things it could be. You ask your friends who are mechanics, oh, you got to get a set of coils, bro. You got to get this, or it could be that. And you spend $1,000 in part, and it's still not fixed. And it ended up being something completely, not even in the engine bay at all. It's in the rear of the car, a charcoal canister for your evap emission system. So make sure you get a good thorough diagnosis either from yourself or from a reputable shop before you start just buying parts and put them on your car. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on Asian vehicles, or European vehicles, or exotic vehicles, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut if you purchase anything. We really appreciate it. And those tools work on domestic cars as well. They can work on lawnmowers. They can work on all kinds of different things. Check out Mrs. Wizard's Way. She's got some new content up there you can check out. The link is in the description. And make sure you hit the subscribe button here because we have many more Asian vehicles and all kinds of other vehicles we're going to be working on. Thanks for watching.